For story time, we're reviewing Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects.
And we're doing this in remembrance of actor Sid Haig, who died on the 21st, so just recently. And stick around.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And as we said, this week we're reviewing the Rob Zombie movie Devil's Rejects. I believe we've already reviewed House of a Thousand Corpses, which was the first one. And like we said, the reason we're doing this is because the actor Sid Haig, who played Captain Spaulding in this movie,
Recently passed away
on September 21st of this year. And today's what, the 27th? I mean, it was
Right. It was
literally
days ago.
Yeah, not even a full week. And we've liked him in a few things. We've reviewed other movies that he was in, but we figured what a good time to choose another Rob Zombie film he was in, because you know, we've done this before with people who passed, so I think once or twice. But anyway,
So basically,
the basic premise for those who haven't seen
House of a Thousand Corpses.
yeah, there's a family of psychotic murderers. They all were in a house in the first one, killing people. This one starts with they're being raided by the government. There's a shootout. Some of them escape, and they're being pursued for the murders from the first one. So, of course, the first thing to do is stop and begin murdering.
Of course. That's what all good killers do.
And yeah, I mean, that's basically the premise, is they're on the run
From
and
the
on a murder
police.
spree.
They're on the run from the first movie, basically.
Yeah. And there is a third one coming, so eventually we'll be reviewing one called 3 from Hell. But,
Yes.
Which is weird because of the way this one ended, if you recall.
Oh yeah. This one was.
But we won't spoil that specifically, because no need. We'll get into that in the third one, going how.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the basic story,
Outline.
the outline of the story. So Colin, why don't you roll the trailer? Let the people see it. All right. So, I mean, that was pretty chaotic seeming in the trailer, and that makes sense for this movie.
Yeah, this movie was pretty
It's
chaotic.
like, you might think that that poster doesn't really show much, like, ooh, a bloody arm, what? Trust me, as minimalist as that poster is, it still works for what's in it.
Oh yeah.
But before we get into the behind the scenes info that we like to give, we have to
give
give
a shout out to our sponsors.
These are real products and things to do and whatnot that actually exist and pay us tons of money every week to promote their stuff. And you could tell, because we're doing this show for free on public access, that we're just rolling in the dough. Rolling in it. But this week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by Uncomfortable Scene Blockers. Have you been watching a movie with your teen and a sex scene comes on screen? Or maybe your parents walked in the room as the movie begins a string of cuss words? Then you should try Uncomfortable Scene Blockers, the new high-tech sunglasses that block the sight of a family member from the corner of your eye. Just download our app, type in the name of the movie, and presto, your peripheral vision is blocked so you can enjoy the scene without thinking about a loved one being in the room with you. That's Uncomfortable Scene Blockers, not designed for use with pornography.
I mean, except for the last line, because that sounds odd. That seems useful. Okay. And by Sid's 50/50 Dream Catchers. While most dream catchers are meant to stop bad dreams, Sid's 50/50 Dream Catchers will stop the first half of your dreams from being scary. It's like an M. Night twist. Every time you sleep, that's Sid's 50/50 Dream Catchers. Buy one for the best half a night's sleep you've ever had. Available at your local farmer's market, sold by a guy painted like a clown who smokes and cusses a lot.
That seems rather specific.
Yes.
All right. Anything you want to say before we get into the behind the scenes?
I mean, if you haven't seen the first one...
It doesn't really matter because this is the one I saw first and like...
I know, but if you haven't seen the first one and haven't seen the second one, turn away now and watch them. And then come back.
But what I'm saying is the first one isn't necessary for the second one as long as you... Like, because I was like, oh,
Yeah,
it's just jumping in at... Like...
It's just
And it's been so long since
shootout.
you saw the first one that it's like, okay, these people are being raided. Okay, it says that they're murderers. Like, they explain why they're being raided in the beginning scene.
Oh, yes.
So...
I'm saying if you haven't seen this movie...
You should.
It is great.
Okay.
Watch it.
Here's some...
Otis's line, "I am the devil and I am here to do the devil's work," is a slightly altered version of a quote spoken by Manson family member Charles Watson during the infamous Tate murders.
And Charles Watson, nobody calls him that. It's Charlie. They always called him Charlie Watson. It's weird. Who, by the way, impregnated multiple women from prison during conjugal visits, meaning someone thought it was okay to let that dude have sex.
Wait, I have a question. If his name is
They
Watson...
called him Tex.
If his name's Watson...
Yeah, last name.
Then why did they... Is this not Charles Manson?
What?
The Manson family member.
But the Manson family was just like his followers. They weren't his family members.
No,
it wasn't
I
like,
know that.
Here's my son, Charlie Watson. I gave him a different last name because why not?
No.
What are you confused by?
Never mind.
A lot of people called him Tex and Charlie. No one called...
Whatever.
But no, Charles Watson isn't Charles Manson.
Oh, okay. I was confused. I was like, his name is Manson, not Watson.
Right.
What is this?
It's his family member, Charles Watson.
Right, okay.
Not Charles Manson himself, Charles Watson, because that would be weird.
That would
But
be
anyway,
really weird. Okay.
he's spawned children since being imprisoned for being willing to randomly slaughter people hoping for a race riot. Just saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Around 100 digital effects shots appear in this film, mostly to create gore. The scenes involving objects coming into direct contact with skin, like throat slitting, people getting shot in the head or neck, or stabbings, were created digitally. The violence that didn't involve direct skin contact, like people getting shot in areas covered by clothes, were achieved practically. Rob Zombie originally intended to create all the special effects using only techniques available in the 1970s, but time constraints prevented this. Yeah, it takes less time to digitally add a slash than just do the thing where it's like spits blood out and goes across the neck. Come on. That makes no sense.
Whatever. Karen Black demanded a higher salary to reprise her role as Mother Firefly. Director Rob Zombie could not afford to increase her pay and decided to replace her with veteran actress Leslie Easterbrook.
Sherry Moon Zombie's brother has a cameo as a police officer in the opening shootout scene. He was originally only on the set as a visitor, but Rob Zombie put him in the scene because he knew how to handle firearms well.
Bill Moseley shaved his head for the film so his lace wig would fit properly.
The film originally had a subplot involving scenes with Dr. Satan. But that doesn't matter to people that haven't seen the first one. In an interview, Rob Zombie said that he cut the scenes because seeing Dr. Satan in this film would be like seeing Chewbacca and Bonnie and Clyde, which makes no sense. Having a character from the first one be in the second one would be like seeing Chewbacca in a movie unrelated to Star Wars. No, Rob.
Not at all.
Too many of the drugs. Knock it off. The scenes were eventually restored for the DVD.
Rob Zombie stated in an interview that up until 31, The Devil's Rejects was probably the hardest film of his to cut down in order to receive an R rating.
I can see that. Rosario Dawson originally had a small part as a nurse in the film. Her character was cut out of the theatrical release because Rob Zombie's decision of not having any Dr. Satan in the film. Her character was killed off within 40 seconds of her debut to the film.
The house used as the Firefly farm in this film was recreated on the Sable Ranch in Santa Clarita. Prior to filming, the house was located in the middle of the forest and had been standing there for a long time. It was used in many films throughout the 90s.
Chris Jericho auditioned for the role of Rondo, but was told he was too pretty for the part. Danny Trejo was cast instead. Nobody's ever called that man too pretty. He's a nice guy, we've met him, not too pretty.
No. The Firefly Ranch was also used in the pilot episode of Supernatural.
Bill Moseley loved playing Otis. In fact, Moseley went on acting like Otis towards his family. He went days without showering.
That's nasty.
That's you.
Hey.
And you don't do it for a part. You're just like, I like to smell like balls.
The Family Media Guide claims that the word fuck and its variations are used 224 times in this film. However, other sources list the count at 560, which until the release of Fuck 2005, right, was a record. The previous holder was Nil by Mouth in 1997, which had a count of 470.
Supposedly, South Park had that. The South Park movie had something about like the most cuss words. I don't know if it was just the F word, but I thought they had that title for a little while. It would have been after this, but anyway. Rob Zombie told William Forsythe, based off Sheriff Wydell, on a combination of actors Lee Marvin and Robert Shaw. So he based the sheriff on those two.
This was Matthew McGrory's final film. He sadly passed away just over a month after its release.
The blue van's plate spells AKU, which means evil in Japanese.
Matthew McGrory injured his ankle prior to shooting. The crew had to find a 7'4" stunt double to replace him during the scene near the beginning where Tiny is dragging a corpse through the woods. The double played Tiny up until he takes the burlap sack off his face, at which point he was played by McGrory.
The shootout at the beginning of the film was very reminiscent of Australian bush ranger Ned Kelly and his gang's last stand at Glenrowan. The armor and the scene's presentation are similar to other film representations of Ned Kelly's tragic final defense.
Won Most Vile Villains for the Firefly Family and Best Horror Movie at the 2006 Scream Awards.
The anchorman is named Derek Sanderson after NHL player of the same name who played for the Boston Bruins during the 70s. Rob Zombie has mentioned during multiple interviews his affinity for the Bruins as a child growing up in Massachusetts.
Sharon Moon Zombie does not see the film as a sequel.
Because she's retarded.
Yes. It's more like some of the characters from House of a Thousand Corpses came on over and now they're the Devil's Rejects.
Literally picks up with them being raided because of the crimes of the first one, making it a sequel that really kind of picks up where that one ended. But yes, she is such. On Rotten Tomatoes, the people have this rated at 78%.
Yeah, and the
reasonable.
critics have it at 54%.
Because critics always are a little harsher with horror movies, unless there's social redeeming justice value.
And there's definitely not any of that in this movie.
No. But Brian Posehn sure gets shot.
Right in the
He gets
face.
shot in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so what was your favorite scene of this movie? Or do you want to do least favorite first? Because that we just flip-flop from episode to episode.
Right, I guess we can do the least favorite first.
Okay. What was your least favorite scene?
My least favorite scene probably had to be, there was a scene where Sid Haig, as his clown character, had to stop because his truck, I think it ran out of gas or something, right? So he was stealing this car from some people, and he was just being relentlessly mean to this kid, right? And it was mean. And that's my least favorite. I'm really scraping.
I thought you just didn't want to explain what he did to the kid's mom and all that.
Oh, no.
You're talking about that, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you say, like, he seems to, for no reason other than violence sake, punch a woman in the face in front of her kid and then threaten to kill the, what?
No.
That's not the scene you're talking about?
It is that scene,
Okay,
but not that part. It was the
No,
threatening
I
the
liked
kid.
when he punched the woman.
No, the threatening the kid and, like, scaring the kid. That was not cool.
No.
And this is really just scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Anyway,
'Cause
all
this is a
right.
good movie.
My least favorite thing was probably the part where the guy that you admitted you thought was Rob Zombie, but wasn't.
Yeah, we both thought that for the longest time in this movie.
But well, he definitely had the guy kind of look like him, which is weird.
Which
And
is really weird.
He played Rob's wife's brother in it. But anyway, he forced the grandmother woman to beg for him to take her, forced her on her knees in front of her family members, and start performing oral. If there's a rape scene or anything like that, I'm going to go ahead and put that on my least favorite of most movies.
I mean, that makes sense.
Just because it bothers me that that's an act that exists in life. So depicting it doesn't make me like it more.
Makes sense.
What's your favorite scene?
It's tough. There's a lot of good ones. I mean, I'm not going to say exactly what happens because you said we're not going to spoil it, but right at the end, I really loved the last 10 minutes.
Okay.
Because it's just nonstop gore and blood and bleeding and violence, and I love it. And it was amazing. It was the best way to end this movie. Not the best way to leave it for a sequel.
Well, that doesn't give anything away. My favorite scene, if I had to pick one, would be, especially since we're doing this in his memory, Sid Haig was being ridden like a pony. And, he starts talking filthy to her. She gets offended because he talks about how she was doing this for money and she got upset. Like, who are you calling? One of those, blah, blah, blah. And she grabs a gun and points it at his head. And he thinks she's joking. And then, surprise twist, he pops up and he's awake. And here's my favorite part. His girlfriend, Jabba the Slut or whatever, because she was a large lady, rolls over and was like, "Did you have a bad dream?" He goes, 50-50. Like, right up until the part where the gun was pulled and I got shot and killed in the dream, it was sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be my favorite, just because it was some well-needed humor with all the violence that was going on.
Yeah. That was great. So on a scale of 1 to 10, that was good. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this?
I'm going to go ahead and, I'm just going to say 9. Like, I love this movie.
Yeah. I think And this is not
and
really
it's not a
comparing
Rob
it.
Zombie like riding him, riding his tip kind of thing. Because like I didn't like some of his other movies.
Oh yeah.
I like these characters in these movies.
But
I actually like this
Not-
better than House of a Thousand Corpses.
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
And I like
not
that.
to compare them, but because they're directly connected, I have to.
Not according to Sherry Moon.
Well, she's
They're the
dumb.
same characters in a plot that's related to the other one, but it's not a sequel. Anyway.
But I'm pretty sure I gave the other one like an 8 or 9, and I have to say I like this one better, so I'm gonna have to give it like a 9.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we get to all the social media and where to find us?
I mean, we just spoiled things for you, so go watch it anyways.
Yeah, but you can watch House of the Thousand Corpses first, and then that way when you watch the sequel, you go, yeah, this one is actually a little better. The first one's good. But expect both of these movies to have really messed up characters doing really messed up things and a lot of blood and gore.
I mean,
If you're not into
this is a great movie, but remember that you're taking this advice from the people who
liked
loved
the
Human Centipede movies.
Yeah, so I'm the guy that in jest compared his being born in 2001 or claiming that it was the worst thing to happen on American soil that year. So these are the types of comments that come out of my mouth.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Anyway,
So, on that side of the screen, per
Ta-da!
usual, yep, there it is. You can just read the stuff and I'll sit here and wait.
No, come on.
You can watch this show on Fact TV Channel 8. Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can email us at gorystorytime@yahoo.com. Send us questions, comments, suggestions of movies.
Complaints, whatever.
Mhm.
You can like us on Facebook.
You can like Fact TV on Facebook, and if you're watching the live stream, hi.
Yep, you already liked them on Facebook. The Gory Storytime page, we post things like Rest in Peace Sid Haig because this...
Yeah, I did make sure to do that, and
Yep.
there's quite a few things. Like I've done memes. I got to get back to that. I keep saying I got to get back to that, but I actually do.
Yes.
The fact that I still haven't doesn't change the fact that I have to.
Yes.
Um,
And we share links every week. We have Twitters. I'm at Jason T. Jakes, capital J, capital T, capital J.
I'm at Craig Jakes, all lowercase, all one word, as long as I don't get
Banned again.
banned again. Like it lasted less than a day, but I had a tweet, and none of the tweets have anything to do with the show or necessarily about horror movies. But
But what do we know? Okay.
wrong thing.
Wrong thing. So until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.